Living in Africa for 3 years was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was also the best experience of my whole life. If you're thinking about moving to Africa or any country overseas, know that you will learn more about yourself, other people, and life than you ever expected. Okay, so tip number 1, travel within Africa. See as much of the country that you're living in while you're there. Leave most of the comforts of home at home. This I didn't realize until after I got to Africa. What I had done was packed a few boxes to ship to myself so that about 2 or 3 months after I got there, I would be able to receive these boxes full of these things that I thought that I would miss while I was living in Kenya. It cost a ton of money, like a couple $100. And after I'd been in Africa for 2 or 3 months, I got these boxes and I was like, I don't even care now what kind of toothpaste I have or whether or not I have Twizzlers, or other people were shipping shampoo to themselves or different products like hygiene products, toilet paper even. But I found that it was much easier just to adjust and adapt to what you could buy locally instead of trying to buy the comforts of home or bring the comforts of home. Yo, what's next? See past the barriers. I did stay within my own bubble because I was scared to go out. Kenya and Nairobi in particular can be very dangerous. There's lots of carjackings. When I moved there, it was one of the cities in the world with the most amounts of crime. So I was scared. Try and get out of yourself as much as possible, especially if you're homesick. Try to hang out with people who understand you, who you can really talk to, and who you can be genuinely yourself with. Right, Theo? He didn't like being here in Canada when he first got here. And I think he still wants to go home to Africa. Sorry. Next, a quote about fear. This is Catherine Patterson. She says, "To fear is one thing. To let fear grab you by the tail and swing you around is another." Don't let it shove you into a box or suppress what you want to do with your life. Take Swahili or whatever African language or whatever language that is the culture of the place you're moving. Take lessons from locals while you're there, because then you get to learn not just the language and the grammar and the sentence structure, but you actually get to learn the culture and the mannerisms and the accents. And it's also good for the local economy to support it by hiring African teachers. Second to last one, get involved in the African culture. So that kind of goes hand in hand with my last tip. I didn't get immersed in the African culture as much as travel Africa, and there's a big difference. I traveled as a Canadian expat, not as someone who really wanted to get to know Kenyans or Africans, and that was a mistake. I would do it differently if I did it over again. Last tip is research and talk to expats before you go and while you're there, but do it with an open mind. The school, Roslyn Academy in Nairobi, did a fantastic job of sending me information and telling me what shots I needed, what immunizations, vaccinations I needed before I got there, and that was really important. But there was a lot of things that I had prepared for that didn't bother me at all. I wasn't prepared for a lot of other things like the isolation and the loneliness and the constant stream of people coming in and out of Africa. So missionaries would come for maybe a week or 3 months or even a year, and then they'd leave. And I personally had a really hard time with that. If you're living in a place with a high turnover of people, like expats or visitors, missionaries, tourists coming in and out, just be prepared to connect with people and then learn how to say goodbye with love and compassion. So those are a few tips. Those are a few of my mistakes and the lessons I learned. Go, enjoy yourself, and grow forward.